politicians, especially the ones on the federal level, are puppets, and the international bankers are the puppet masters in control. This isn't speculation, this is fact. Former Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan articulated this statement when he said that no other branch of government can overrule actions that the Federal Reserve takes. He tells the interviewer that they are the ones in control.
What is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between a chairman of the Fed and a president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. So long as that is in place and there is no evidence that the administration or the Congress or anybody else is requesting that we do things other than what we think is the appropriate thing, then what the relationships are don't frankly matter.
Debt makes the international bankers money and diminishes our buying power through the hidden tax called inflation. Amschel Rothschild is quoted as saying, "Give me control over a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws." It's not the senators, the congressmen, the judges, or the so-called leader of the free world who occupies the driver's seat of this federal corporation known as the United States. It's the bankers who have used presidents to create notes of debt while they consume and accumulate the real wealth and resources of geographic areas. One of the worst things a president can do is allow himself to be moved as a pawn that plunges his people into debt because the borrower is truly the servant to the lender. By the way, we're not just talking about any debt, we're talking about transgenerational debt slavery. A debt so massive, so incomprehensible that the people who trusted the politician to lead the country can never hope to repay this debt. Their children won't be able to repay it. Their children's children to the 4th and 5th generations won't be able to pay it. If you want to take an objective look at a man who calls himself the President of the United States and determine whether he's on your side or on the side of the bankers, you don't have to look any further than the accumulation of debt during the term of his presidency. So let's move quickly through the facts. Beginning in 1789 through 1913, that's the year the Federal Reserve was created. In that 124-year period of time from fiscal year 1789 to fiscal year 1913, $2.9 billion of debt was created. Woodrow Wilson added $21 billion to the debt, or a 727% increase from the $2.9 billion in debt at the end of Taft's last budget year. Warren G. Harding subtracted $2 billion from the debt, or a 7% decrease from the $24 billion in debt at the end of Wilson's last fiscal budget year. Calvin Coolidge likewise subtracted $5 billion from the debt, which was a 26% decrease from the $21 billion in debt at the end of Harding's last year. By the way, Harding and Coolidge are the only two presidents in U.S. history who have taken away from the debt, not added to it. Herbert Hoover added $6 billion, or a 33% increase from the $17 billion in debt at the end of Coolidge's last budget year. And then we have Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Mr. New Deal, who added $236 billion, or a 1,048% increase from the $23 billion in debt at the end of Hoover's last year. A 1,048% increase, guys. Harry Truman added $7 billion worth of debt, or a 3% increase from the $259 billion in debt at the end of Roosevelt's last budget year. Dwight Eisenhower added $23 billion, or a 9% increase from the $266 billion at the end of Truman's last year. And the short time Kennedy was president, he managed to add $23 billion in debt, or an 8% increase from the $289 billion in debt at the end of Eisenhower's last year. LBJ added $42 billion, or a 13% increase. Richard Nixon added $121 billion, or a 34% increase. Gerald Ford added $224 billion, or a 47% increase. Jimmy Carter added $299 billion, or a 43% increase. And then we come to Ronald Reagan. Reagan was the first president in U.S. history to throw the national debt over the $1 trillion mark. He added $1.86 trillion, or a 186% increase from the $999 billion in debt at the end of Carter's last budget year. George H.W. Bush added another $1.554 trillion, or a 54% increase, which brought the entire national debt to $4.4 trillion at the end of Bush's term. Bill Clinton added $1.3 trillion, or a 32% increase. And then we get to the next two biggest spendthrifts in U.S. presidential history, George W. Bush and Barack Hussein Obama. George W. Bush added $5.8 trillion, or a 101% increase from the $5.8 trillion in debt at the end of Clinton's last year. So in 8 years, George W. Bush managed to outspend every other president in U.S. history in just 8 years. But not to be outdone, his trusty banking sidekick Barack Obama accumulated $8.58 trillion, or a 74% increase from the $11.657 trillion in debt at the end of Bush's last year. Now let's talk about Donald Trump. As projected in the fiscal year 2019 budget, Trump plans to add $8.2 trillion, or a 41% increase from the $20.2 trillion in debt at the end of Obama's last year. He will have added almost as much in 4 years as Obama did in 8. And that would make him the second biggest contributor to the debt in history in just 1 term. Guys, numbers and facts don't lie. Debt serves the purposes of the international warmongering banking cartel, and the frontmen who facilitate this debt are not your friends. They're your enemies. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. Guys, I don't know how much longer my channel will be around here on YouTube. Please take a minute and sign up to my email list. It's free, painless, and you'll get some cool stuff. Also, take another minute to subscribe to my decentralized, censorship-free BitChute and Steemit channels. All these links are in the description. I want you to know this. If my channel goes down, I'll still produce content for you guys through my website and through BitChute and Steemit. So make sure you stay connected through the email subscription link in the description below. Just watch the 45-second video on my website and you'll be all set. If you want to support my work on this channel, grab a shirt, snag a flashlight, or hit me up on Patreon and PayPal. I'll see you guys in the next video. Before you go, check out one of the most in-your-face, hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirt stores on the planet. Just by wearing one of these t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, or cutoffs, and without saying a word, you can let people know that black rifles matter. You can inform the sleeping masses that fluoride is dumbing them down, that Google is a gulag-style censorship machine, that the Department of Homeland Security is merely security theater, that the NSA makes your private life their business, that the Grim Reaper supports everyone's troops, that we need to legalize freedom, that in life there are no excuses, that CNN is a communist news network, voting is the suggestion box of slaves, that 9/11 was a lie, and that all official stories should be questioned. Also, let people know we're in the middle of a full-blown sheepvolution, taxation is theft, the IRS is an immoral robbery service, cops enjoy protecting and serving the crap out of you, that the space you occupy is not a gun-free zone, and that gun-free zones are the most dangerous places on earth. Your purchase helps support more hard-hitting content on my censored channel. As of the recording of this video, I have over 90 designs. I take your requests for new designs, and I'm adding new ones every week, so check back often. The link to the store is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.